Hashem's name will be blessed forever and ever. Shalom, everyone. Let me just maybe place it like that. Okay, today class, halacha class, electricity and use of electric appliances on Shabbat. I just owe you discussion over a subject, just to summarize what we did last time. We talked about mav'ir, when we kindling a fire, and I just want to take less than 5 minutes probably to discuss the laws of mechabe, extinguishing a fire. It's really short, and then we start with electricity and the use of appliances on Shabbat. Okay? So, you should know, we learned last time, you can't kindle fire. And kindling fire is not just regular fire that we all know from a match, or a candle, or a torch. It's also a light bulb. There's a spark there in the fire. If you close a circle by turning one of electric devices you have at home. Some of the utensils or the appliances or the devices you have at home, if you turn them on or off, it will be considered as you're breaking a law from the Torah, even if this device was not exist back then, because it followed the same criteria and categories of lighting fire. But some of them will be a rabbinical law that you're breaking, not Torah law. So it's important to know that, okay? For example, LED, it's more rabbinical, or a fan and stuff like that. We'll discuss it Be'ezrat Hashem later. Let's talk a bit about mechabe, extinguishing a fire. If someone extinguished a fire on Shabbat, he is guilty of performing an act of the melacha of mechabe, extinguishing. The Torah prohibited the act of extinguishing fires only when it is performed in order to manufacture charcoal from the wood that is burning. So it was a purpose of lighting fire. And back then they used charcoals all the time. You can imagine what kind of use they use it for a million things. Cooking, preparing food for eating now, later, saving food warm, to heat up water, and so forth and so on. Okay, for shower, for washing hands, face, whatever. So the Torah forbade that, which means that anything which is not meant to do for fire, for charcoals, will be a law prohibited by the rabbis, a rabbinical law. Okay? And it's burning. If his entire purpose is simply to stop the fire from burning, however, it is forbidden only by our sages. Again, it's still prohibited, but the severity of the actions are less, and the punishment will be less, and there's no korban requires, and teshuvah is different. Okay? It is forbidden as well to extinguish glowing metal on Shabbat. Glowing metal on Shabbat. For this reason, it is forbidden to turn off electric lights on Shabbat, but it is forbidden only by our sages. Last one on this mechabe, extinguishing fire. It is forbidden to lower the intensity of a gas flame on Shabbat. But I'm not extinguishing, I'm just taking it from level 10 to level 4. I don't want to cook to get burned, so I want it to simmer. So I'm taking it from 10 to 2 or 1. From big flame to small flame. It's forbidden. It is forbidden to lower the intensity of the gas flame on Shabbat. It is also forbidden to indirectly cause the fire to be extinguished by placing a small pot filled with hot water over the fire on Shabbat, so that the water will bubble up and spill over the sides of the pot and onto the flame. Even if one could manage to do this without transgressing any of the rules concerning the melacha of mevashel, of cooking. This is something, it's an action that usually we do on Yom Tov. Because on Yom Tov, on the holiday, we may cook. We may take fire from one, existing fire to lit a fire. Okay? You can pass from an existing fire, but not to lit. If I want to extinguish it, it's not permitted on Yom Tov, unless you do something like we might just mention, I'm putting a lot of water, and the water spills, turn it off, shut it down, extinguish it, and then you close the gas valve. As a child, I remember we did it many times. After finishing cooking, you don't want to have the gas working all day long, because it's unsafe also. So what we did, we brought a small pot, we filled it up with water, and we wait by it. It take 5, 6, 7 minutes, and then it spill. We were there just to shut off the gas. But years later, it was an invention by the institution called Zomet. It's unbelievable. It's really good, simple, and easy. You put it on your gas source near you, and you can time it. So, for example, I don't remember what's now, but let's say up to an hour. So it's like a timer. Yeah. You turn it on, and it will shut it off within an hour. So usually what they do, if they say you need more time, you add always more time. And you shut it off, you turn it back again. It's no big deal, because you always have a candle, neshama candle, and then neshama, or an existing fire. Okay? That solves a lot of problems. You can bring it here to the United States if you want. You can buy it online today. Okay? It's called, I think, Gas Timer by Zomet. You can use it on Shabbat, and it's easy to install. Nevertheless, it's best to be installed with a professional. And if you need a professional, please call Jeff, and your number is... Talk with us later. Tov, next. Electricity and the use of electric appliances. So can we use appliances on Shabbat?
Yes.
So why do we need even to learn that? Can we use a refrigerator?
Yes.
Freezer?
Yes.
Washer, dryer? Okay. Now questions. I open the refrigerator and the light turns on. What if it's closed, the whole food for Shabbat is there, and I know if I open it, the light will go on? What should I do? What if Shabbat is on Friday, let's say start at 6. I put wet clothing inside the dryer. It will last for at least an hour. It will finish by 7. It goes to the Shabbat. Can I do that? I'm doing Kiddush. Yom HaShishi v'chol HaShamayim working on Shabbat, but I started before Shabbat. Should I stop it before Shabbat? Is it before lighting the candles? Or I can let it go because I turned it on before Shabbat? What about the sprinkles? Water. Sometimes on timer, it starts before Shabbat and goes through the Shabbat. So this is just a question I'm raising. I'm not going to answer them now. Just this is the kind of material that we are going to discuss. Okay, so hold on your questions. Let's finish and then answer. Maybe I'll be able to answer all your questions. Okay, Rachel, do you have any questions? Did you raise your hand? Harmony? No? Just want to make sure. Okay, most of the poskim agreed that it is forbidden by the Torah to turn on an electric light on Shabbat. is an act of the melacha of mav'ir, burning. Although there is a minority opinion that it is forbidden only by our sages, this opinion is incorrect and cannot be counted as a valid position. This means that in a situation where a rabbi needs to make a scholarly decision concerning a situation involving turning on a light, this opinion cannot be used as, quote, further reason to be lenient. Okay. Contemporary authorities unanimously right, agree that turning on an electric light is forbidden by the Torah, whereas in incandescent, what words they put today, incandescent lights like the old school light. Today is more LED or the fluorescent light, and whatever it is powered by an outside source or a battery. Okay. Sometimes we'll be permitted to use a light, even I can say to a non-Jew without hinting, turn the light on. We see what kind of situation. Sometimes it's permitted for me to do that on Shabbat. I don't have to look for a non-Jew to do this mitzvah for us. Okay. It is likewise forbidden to turn on a transistor radio on Shabbat, even though no light is turned on with this action. Harav Avraham Yeshayahu Karelitz, he well known in the name of Chazon Ish, ruled that turning on an electric light bulb involves 3 avot melacha. If you just turn on the light on Shabbat, you break 3 laws. It's like you need to bring 3 korbanot, 3 sacrifices to the Beit HaMikdash. What do I break if I turn the light on Shabbat? The first one is mav'ir, igniting a flame by causing the flame to glow. B, mevashel, cooking the firement. Okay, the small wire inside the light bulb. And C, boneh, like building something. By completing the circuit of the electric current, he ruled also that extinguishing the light is also forbidden by the Torah as an act of the melacha of soter, breaking the circuit. She is very strict. However, this is the halacha of the Chazon Ish. There are some Ashkenazi communities that follow Chazon Ish. They call the Chazon Ish people because most of the time he's strict in many halachot. And they are very strict. And that, anything it go by Chazon Ish. If, for example, in our case, matzah on Passover. Chazon Ish holds it's a bigger portion. Or for kazai, before you eat, it could be a bigger portion to be considered minimum amount. You know what I'm saying? It's always go just to cover all options. So everybody will be, all the great rabbis that Paskin before will be happy. And you covered. You complete the mitzvah with no questions, no cracks. Anyways, however, several of the leading poskim of the previous generation, notably Harav Tzvi Pesach Frank, Harav Ezra Ataya, it's from Yerushalayim, it's a Sephardi rabbi, and Harav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach, disagreed. You see, Ashkenazi and Sephardi rabbi disagree with Chazon Ish here, ruling that these acts do not involve the melachot of boneh or soter. According to the Chazon Ish, it is forbidden by the Torah to turn on or off an electric fan, even if it involves no electric light, since completing any electric circuit is an act of the melacha of boneh. You're creating something, okay? And breaking the circuit is the act of soter, destroying or breaking. According to the other poskim, it is not forbidden by the Torah. However, since whenever an electric circuit is completed or broken, a tiny spark jumps between the two connectors. It is forbidden by our sages as an act of mulid, creating something that did not exist before. In this case, that something is the spark. That was a short introduction to give you an idea what we're dealing here with. You see an innocent appliance, but behind it there's a lot of complex wiring and sparks and electricity running through it. The more we advance, it challenges the halacha more and more. Okay? Now, someone is sick and you need to have a light for the sake of this sick person. And I have two options. I have a light bulb that has, all this wiring and sparks coming inside, running and all that. And I have LED light today, which is or fluorescent, which could be probably less problematic according to some rabbis. Should I go ahead and say, it doesn't matter, it's permitted for a sick person, or I should seek for a way to break Shabbat with less issues? So you all agree, right? Even if Shabbat permitted, you should look for the easy way. So listen to this. Some poskim rule that when it is necessary to turn on a light on Shabbat in order to treat desperately ill patient, it is preferable to turn on a fluorescent light rather than an incandescent light. Yes, you're right. This is because an incandescent light is incandescent is the one with the wire. Right? Incandescent light. You see that I'm breaking my teeth. So to help me out. When you start to speak Hebrew, I'm not going to help you.
He helps you.
No, actually, I will. I can revenge. So you should not revenge in the Torah. I take my word back.
He helps you right away.
I saw that you're enjoying it. Incandescent light bulb contains a filament that glows when turned on, and it involves the melacha of mav'ir, burning, and of mevashel, cooking. A fluorescent light, on the other hand, has no filament. The gas inside the bulb is what glows, and this involves neither of those melachot. However, this is incorrect. If anything, turning on a fluorescent light is worse than turning on an incandescent light. The mechanism... I'm sorry, guys. Let me just put it in. If you're not disturbed, I forgot. Today was a crazy day. Okay? If anything, turning on a fluorescent light is worse than turning on an incandescent light. The mechanics of the fluorescent light involves 3 instances of the melacha of mav'ir each time it is turned on, whereas turning on an incandescent light bulb involves only one. I don't know if you know that, if you're familiar with that, but the old fluorescent, they had like a starter. You turn on, so so there's a lot of burning going over there, Yeah. Mm-hmm. Today with the LED, which is much better, and it's also energy efficient, and even money wise, it's better to have light using light bulb made of LED. It's make this issue much easier. Okay, it's LED, it's really rabbinical. There's no mav'ir there, it's a different technique. So, Baruch Hashem, it's much better. Okay, so let me ask you now a question. Can I cook on Shabbat using microwave? And I make sure, No? No. What about if I'll make sure to take the light bulb from inside? Because when you open it, it turns on. Okay? The Torah forbids us to cook on fire. This is not fire. It's radio waves.
But it works by the electricity.
No.
Yeah, it's connected to the...
So I'll put a timer. Put a timer, 12 o'clock, boom. Will cook something for me.
I have a light.
I'll take the light bulb before, I said.
It's electrical.
Okay, the halacha says it is forbidden to cook in a microwave oven on Shabbat, even if one removes the light bulb from it. And even if it is programmed from before Shabbat with a timer to go on automatically at a certain time on Shabbat. Some authorities claim that using a microwave oven is not an act of the melacha of mevashel, since there is no heat source that cooks the food. Others disagrees, claiming that whoever one causes the food to be cooked, and it is a normal method of cooking, is always an act of the melacha of mevashel, cooking. Even according to the authorities cited first, it's forbidden by our sages to cook on Shabbat in a microwave oven. I don't know, by the way, if anybody here ever cooked. You always warm up stuff with it, right? Do you ever cook something with that? The only thing we may be cooking is popcorn, no? It's the only thing. It's seitan, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Turning off electric appliances on Shabbat. The fan works non-stop, and we don't really need it, or it becomes too cold in the room. Okay? Turning off an electrical appliance on Shabbat, such as a fan, an air conditioner, or a radio, is forbidden by our sages even if it has no light bulb at all. This is because, as mentioned above, whether an electric current is turned on or off, it causes a spark to jump between the two connectors. The act of creating this spark is forbidden by our sages, even if it does not ignite any flame. And you don't see anything. It's not with light bulb, you see it immediately, you have light. Therefore, turning on an air conditioner that has no indicator light on Shabbat is forbidden by our sages. But you know what? We have timers, so timers, it's a great savior. But we also will learn how to use timer on Shabbat. Let's say the air conditioning is on timer, or the fan, and it's too cold. It's too cold. Or it's too hot in the room. Can I play with the timer on Shabbat? Let's say air conditioning was on the timer, was programmed to start on 9 a.m. in the morning. But it's really hard. It's now 8 o'clock in the morning. You want to turn it on. Can I play with, and I'm talking about a mechanical timer. Definitely the digital, everything else is forbidden. Talking about the mechanical one. Can I make it work earlier, to turn on earlier? So we'll study it, but I'll teach you a rule. The rule says, please try to remember. With a timer on Shabbat, and I'm talking about the mechanical timer, you may continue the current situation. May continue with the current situation. Meaning, let's say it's working now. Air conditioning is working. and I want to have the air conditioning for a little bit longer. And I know I program it to turn off at 11:30 a.m. But it's too hot. I said, you know what? I want it to be till 2 o'clock p.m. I may go carefully and add more time because it's working, and just make it not to stop by 11:30. Well, later, I didn't really do anything. Okay. So as long as it's working, you can stretch it a little bit longer. Don't shorten it. Give it more time. When it's off, you can continue with the off situation. So it's 8 o'clock in the morning, it's cold, I don't need air conditioning now. So I can switch it from 9 a.m. to turn on to 11, let's say. Because what I'm doing, I'm continuing with the current situation. Right? It's not working, I'm going to make it work later. Make sense?
Yes.
But don't shorten it.
Yeah.
No, if I shorten it, what happens is going to turn on right away. Understood? Okay, this is just a side comment. Okay. I'm going to take 2 or 3 more minutes. Okay, actually I finished that, right? Right. One more or 2 more halachot, and we're done with it. Can I take videos on Shabbat with a camera?
No.
Can I ask someone else to take a video of me? No, right? What if there are cameras outside of my neighbor's parking lot? Every time I go there, I walk by it. It's going to take a video of me on Shabbat.
But you didn't.
By now I'm part of it.
Of the neighbor?
The neighbor.
They never have a camera?
They put my cameras. They have cameras outside. What about, Yerushalayim, Jerusalem, in many, many places you go, there are cameras all over, out of security. Especially around the Kotel and before the Kotel. And along the streets leading to the Western Wall in Yerushalayim, the security forces set up cameras to keep surveillance over those who walk back and forth. These cameras work automatically day and night, 7 days a week. It is permissible to walk through these streets on Shabbat, although one will definitely be photographed by these cameras, since this passerby has no interest in being photographed. It's not his intention. He's not going to do anything with it, right? Yeah. It is a case of psikreshe de lo nichale, meaning I have nothing to do with that. It's not my intention. Regarding an act that it is forbidden only by our sages, and therefore it is permitted. I can tell you something even further, greater, and I asked Rabbi Fried about it. Our neighbors in the alley where we live here in Dallas added, few of them, lights that when you pass by it, the sensor catches it and turns it on. So sometimes you walk by the alley, every spot, parking lot that you pass by, it turns on all the lights. So we ask if we can pass by it. And the question is, yes you can. Because this is not my intention. They put it there without us. Otherwise, if they surrounded the place with all these lights, it's like you're going to live in the street. It's not my intention to enjoy this light. Nevertheless, it'd be better if it's easier to go from another spot, another place, or not so close. If you can do it that easily, it's preferable. Make sense?
Yes.
Am I boring you?
No.
No? Just kidding. Okay, less halacha. Okay, I got it. Less halacha. What about automatic elevator?
You can use.
Automatic?
Automatic. You go in and it stops every floor.
Yeah.
So I don't need to push the button?
You don't need to push anything.
There is something like
You'll
that?
get
Yeah.
in trouble if you
Well,
touch that.
We used it in Yerushalayim.
So it's called Ma'alit Shabbat.
Yeah, they have an elevator for Shabbos and
No,
a regular.
we waited for it for like 20 minutes because it was like a 25-story building, and finally the door opens, and there were some people waiting. And we went to get in, and a man and two little kids coming, and the door was about to close, and I went to stop it, and this guy grabbed me and said, "No, Shabbat!" And I didn't realize, like, if I put my hand and stop the door, it defeats the whole purpose, right?
Okay, last halacha for today. Technically, it is permissible on Shabbat to use automatic elevators that goes up and down and stop at each floor. One may use them both to go up and down and to go, in particular, people who will find it difficult to climb many steps, such as an elderly person, someone ill, a new mother, or a woman pushing a twin stroller may use these elevators. When entering or exiting the elevator car, one must be careful not to block the doors as they shut, since one will then cause them to reopen. Make sense, Jeff?
Yeah, and then you have to stand.
Whenever possible, one should refrain from using such an elevator to go downstairs. Comprende? Capiche?
How do you say I
You got it?
understand in Hebrew?
Okay, now repeat. Please stand on the chair and repeat what I said. No. Any questions? Yes.
I have a question from the class, the last class that you
So
said.
ask me maybe off video, okay? Because
Oh, right, okay.
you know how many participants we have today on the Zoom? Why? Only one. It's myself.
No,
You're so
They cut off in another class, so they just don't have it. Bye, everybody.
They lost
Shalom.